For most of history, money was matter. Something mined, weighed, and held. Gold, the incorruptible metal. It did not rust. It did not beg. It simply was. It shimmered like eternity, a promise forged in scarcity and fire. Humanity didn't invent gold. It discovered it, and like fire, it could never be forgotten. The origins of value. Before kings, before banks, before law, there was exchange. A shepherd traded wool. A farmer traded grain. Trust was personal, fragile, finite. Then came discovery, something rare, durable, eternal, gold. For the first time, value could travel farther than its maker. It was more than metal, it was memory. Egypt, the divine metal. In Egypt, gold was holy, the flesh of gods, the sun made solid. Pharaohs wore it to become immortal. Priests adorned it to channel the divine. It was not spent, it was sanctified. Pyramids gleamed with wealth untouchable. Tombs overflowed with eternal currency. They believed the afterlife had an exchange rate. Every piece of gold, a prayer against decay. Gold was not money, it was metaphysics. But even the sacred can be corrupted. Dynasties decayed, temples taxed, idols melted to fund armies. The divine metal became political. When faith meets scarcity, religion becomes economics. Greece, the golden mean. Then came Greece, the birthplace of reason, and of money itself. From Lydia's hills came the first coins, stamped lions, weighted in faith. Now gold had form. It could move. It could multiply. Markets were born. Trade exploded. Philosophy followed. Plato warned that gold tempts men to measure worth by wealth alone. Socrates mocked vanity. Aristotle observed that money breeds money, and with it, illusion. Athens prospered, then overreached. Democracy and empire shared a treasury, and when war came, idealism couldn't pay its debts. Athens collapsed, not from defeat, but from mispriced virtue. Rome, the economy of power. Then Rome, the imitator, the builder, the devourer. Rome weaponized order, and gold was its sword. The denarius circulated from Britain to Babylon, each coin stamped with Caesar's image, a god in your palm. Currency became culture, money became empire. Rome's genius was faith in hierarchy, its failure was faith in infinity. Wars drained gold, taxes rose, debasement began. To fund ambition, emperors clipped coins. Copper replaced purity, propaganda replaced math. The people noticed, markets hoarded, faith fractured, inflation devoured empire from the inside out. Rome didn't fall to barbarians first, it fell to its own arithmetic. The army survived conquest, but it couldn't survive insolvency. Every empire since has followed that pattern. When money dies, so does meaning. Byzantium, the golden ghost. But Rome's shadow lived. Byzantium carried the flame. For 1,000 years, it minted stability, the solidus unchanged for centuries, the coin that refused decay. Merchants trusted it from Venice to Cairo. It was civilization's compass. While kingdoms fell, the solidus endured. Because Byzantium remembered what Rome forgot, that stability is sacred. When Constantinople fell, the world lost its last honest coin. The Middle Ages, faith as currency. Then faith took over. The Middle Ages, a world of crowns and crosses. Gold retreated east, silver ruled west. When metal ran short, belief filled the void. The church minted guilt, salvation was collateral. Forgiveness for sale, heaven for hire. It worked, until it didn't. Debts swelled, empires defaulted, faith inflated. By the 14th century, the ledger of God was overdrawn. Then came discovery, 1492. A new world, an old hunger reborn. The Spanish curse. Spain found mountains of silver and gold. It called them blessings, but abundance is a slow poison. The mines of Potosi fed Europe's fantasies. Silver flooded markets, prices soared. Gold gilded cathedrals, faith collapsed beneath it. Spain was rich and hollow, powerful and dying. Because wealth without work erodes the soul. The lesson was clear, but history never listens. Britain, the mathematical empire. Then Britain rose, an empire of math, machines, and markets. The gold standard became scripture. Every pound a promise, every promise convertible to truth. Trade expanded, ships circled the globe, stability reigned, the sun never set on gold-backed order. But order demands sacrifice, and wars demand chaos. 1914, guns shattered equilibrium, gold shipments stopped, paper replaced purity, Britain's glory turned to deficit. After victory, it tried to return, but honesty doesn't run on nostalgia. Markets punished denial, unemployment soared, empire cracked, the torch passed west. America, the new Rome. The 20th century belonged to paper and power, but behind it all, the same old metal. 1944, Bretton Woods, a summit of survival. The world was exhausted, currencies in ruins, faith fractured. They needed a new anchor. They found it, in the dollar. The dollar would rule, gold would guard it. Every nation pegged to the dollar, every dollar pegged to gold. Simple, elegant, deceptive. America held 2/3 of the world's gold. Its vaults gleamed like temples. Confidence was currency. The system worked, for a while. Factories thrived. Families grew. Faith in paper soared. But all anchors strain, and all promises eventually cost. World War II, and aftermath. World War II rewrote the rules. Nations bled. Gold moved. Power shifted. The US emerged untouched and unmatched. It printed the blueprint for global trust and global dependence. Bretton Woods wasn't just policy, it was prophecy. A new empire, disguised as stability, but empires always consume their foundations. By the 1960s, Vietnam drained dollars. Welfare expanded deficits. The math broke again. Foreign nations noticed. France demanded gold. The US delayed, then denied. Nixon faced a choice. Truth or power. He chose power. 1971, the window closed. The world untethered. Gold was out. Debt was in. For the first time, money floated free of matter. Humanity had divorced value from substance, and we called it freedom. The age of illusion. The 1970s burned. Oil shocks, stagflation, despair. The illusion was new, but the consequences ancient. So they built a new anchor, not gold, but oil. 1973. The petrodollar deal. Oil priced in dollars. Dollars recycled into American debt. Stability returned, on borrowed time. The system worked because people believed. And belief, like bubbles, grows quietly. Each crisis was patched with credit. Each rescue bred a bigger one. The same story, in faster cycles. Each time, we forgot the last. Each time, we printed more. But beneath the noise, gold waited. The age of paper gods. Governments discovered alchemy again, this time, digital. Central banks became deities of liquidity. Balance sheets replaced production. Markets stopped measuring value. They measured expectation. Money became story. Growth became belief. Faith became policy. We built temples of finance, not factories. And in those temples, the priests were algorithms. We thought ourselves beyond consequence. But the math never sleeps. Gold does not react, it remembers. The psychology of gold. Why does gold endure? Because it's the mirror. It reflects our hunger, our fear, our arrogance. Scarcity reminds us of mortality. Weight reminds us of consequence. Every age tries to escape reality. Every age returns to it. Gold is that return. When trust collapses, when paper trembles, when faith evaporates, we go back to what doesn't lie. Gold is honesty, measured in ounces. The digital revolution. Then came code, Bitcoin, digital scarcity, a rebellion against fiat faith, math instead of men, transparency instead of trust. It was called the new gold, but even code requires confidence. Even algorithms need believers. Gold is physics. Bitcoin is philosophy and math. Both fight illusion, yet both serve the same God: human belief. Perhaps that's the final irony: we escaped kings, but not psychology. The return of the old gods. Now, gold rises again. China buys in silence. Russia accumulates. India imports. Europe hedges. The West talks innovation. The East hoards insurance. The world is shifting. Trust is tilting. History is repeating. Once again, when words lose weight, we reach for metal. Gold has no ideology, no allegiance, no agenda. It just waits. The same bars that backed Bretton Woods still exist, unchanged, untouched, unapologetic. Nations may fall, ideologies may burn, but weight never lies. The present. We print trillions. We call it stimulus. We borrow centuries in decades. Inflation rises. Currencies weaken. Gold shines again. Every chart tells the same story. Belief stretched thin. People whisper about reset, collapse, and return. But the return is already happening. Central banks are buying gold again, the same way they did before wars. They know something numbers can't admit: that trust is not infinite. The human condition. Gold's story is not economic. It's existential. It's our desire to make permanence from impermanence. We carve temples, write scriptures, and mint coins, all to outlast ourselves, but nothing lasts, except the reminder. Gold outlives empires because truth outlives lies. It doesn't promise peace. It promises weight. And in a world addicted to motion, weight is wisdom. The final reckoning. Every civilization thinks it's different. Every generation calls itself modern, but illusion has no timeline. From pharaohs to federal reserves, the pattern holds. Greed, debasement, denial, decay, then silence, then gold. The same metal that crowned kings, funded wars, and marked graves. Still gleaming, still patient, still here, because truth doesn't innovate, it endures, and gold is truth, made tangible. The closing truth. So what is the gold illusion? It's the belief that we've outgrown consequence. That credit is creation. That debt is destiny. It's the arrogance of every empire that mistakes comfort for control. Gold doesn't oppose progress. It humbles it. Because progress without limits is collapse in disguise. The question isn't metal or paper, digital or divine. It's this: what do we trust when everything else is noise? When the system resets, and the screens go dark, what still holds value? The answer is ancient. It never changed. It never needed to. Gold doesn't save. It reminds. That truth has weight. And weight is all that endures.